Maya watched the same NCIS rerun for the fourth time this month, and this time she paused it. She walked into my kitchen, set her phone down next to the cereal bowl, and asked me the question I had been waiting for her to ask. Uncle Ray, is that actually a real job? Here is what she did not know. The job is real. It pays $67,440 at the median, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics May 2024 data. It is growing 13% this decade. That is almost double the national average. And it might be one of the most AI-proof science careers in America right now. But almost nothing on that screen is what the job actually looks like. So I closed my laptop and pulled out the whiteboard. Because this is the kind of question that deserves real numbers, not a 30-second answer. In the next 12 minutes, I am going to show her three things. The real day-to-day of a forensic science technician. The exact degree that lands you in a crime lab versus the one that gets you screened out before the interview. And the one legal rule that keeps a human in this chair long after AI takes over half the office. Here is the thing, though. Most teenagers who fall in love with this career fall in love with the wrong version of it. The TV version. They pick the wrong major. They graduate with a 4-year degree, send out 40 applications, and wonder why nobody is calling them back. That is not a small problem. That is the problem this video is going to fix. In the next 10 minutes, I started with the BLS chart. Median salary, $67,440. That is the middle of the field. Entry level, the bottom 10%, comes in around $45,560. The top 10%, $110,710. That is a real range. A senior specialist in a federal lab or a private DNA lab analyst with 5 to 10 years in can clear 6 figures without ever becoming a doctor or a lawyer. Now compare that to two careers Maya thought were the same thing. Police and sheriff's patrol officers earn around $74,910 at the median. But the growth rate is only about 3%. Detectives and criminal investigators earn about $91,100, again with low single-digit growth. Forensic science techs earn less than detectives at the median, but they grow at 13%. They require no police academy. They face no street-level physical danger as a primary job hazard. And the specialization upside is huge. Maya wrote down the numbers twice. That is what she does when something matters. Then she squinted at me. Wait, so the person on TV does 5 jobs in one episode. And in real life, those are 5 different people with 5 different specialties? Yes. And that is exactly why this career is so much bigger than CSI shows you. On TV, one character collects the evidence at the crime scene, runs the DNA, matches the fingerprints, analyzes the blood spatter, and then sits in on the interrogation. In reality, those are 5 distinct specialties performed by 5 different people. A latent print examiner does not run DNA. A toxicologist does not do ballistics. A working forensic analyst told National University in an interview, and I am quoting her directly, "We each usually have a specialty, and mine is in impressions. I would say 90% of the time it is just me sitting at a computer looking at images. 90% of the time, at a computer, looking at images. That is the real CSI. And yes, it is still a great job. It is just nothing like what you watched on TV. So what does a real day actually look like? Roughly 60 to 70% of the time is lab analysis, instrument operation, sample prep, microscopy, computer-based image comparison. About 15 to 20% is documentation, chain of custody paperwork, case notes, official reports. Only 5 to 10% is actually processing a crime scene, and that varies heavily by specialization. Some forensic techs almost never leave the lab. The last 5 to 10% is court prep and court testimony. That last slice is small in hours, but it is the part that makes this career legally unique. Because a forensic scientist who testifies in court must be qualified by a judge as an expert witness. They must respond to cross-examination. They must demonstrate human professional judgment under the federal rules of evidence. No software can be sworn in. No algorithm can be cross-examined. That is not a guess about the future. That is current U.S. evidentiary law right now. Now, the big question: how do you actually get this job? Crime labs hire on scientific competency, not on the word forensic in your degree title. The majors that actually land entry-level forensic tech jobs are forensic science from a FEPAC accredited program, the Forensic Science Education Programs Accreditation Commission, chemistry, biology or biochemistry, microbiology. Then Maya asked the question every family in America should ask: what about criminal justice? And this is where I had to be honest with her. A criminal justice degree on its own will get you screened out of most crime lab hiring pools before the first interview. Criminal justice covers law, policing theory, corrections, and criminology. It does not include the laboratory coursework that crime labs require: organic chemistry, molecular biology, analytical methods, instrumentation. When state crime labs post openings for a DNA analyst or a trace evidence examiner, they list chemistry, biology, or forensic science degrees with science coursework. Not criminal justice. This is the single biggest misconception about this career. It ruins 4-year plans every single year. So if you are choosing a major specifically because you want to work in a crime lab, choose the science degree, then layer in a forensic minor or a forensic master's later if you want to specialize. That order matters. Here is the part Maya wrote down twice, because this is the part that decides whether you actually get hired, or whether your 4-year degree was the wrong 4-year degree. I told her about Dr. Henry C. Lee. He is probably the most famous forensic scientist in the country. He consulted on the O.J. Simpson case, the John Benet Ramsey case, the Scott Peterson case. And his career did not start with criminal justice. It started with a chemistry degree. He went on to build the Henry C. Lee Institute of Forensic Science at the University of New Haven. That is one of the 3 undergraduate programs Maya should know about: Penn State's Forensic Science Bachelor of Science program, John Jay College at CUNY in New York City, which sits right next to NYPD labs and federal agencies, and the University of New Haven, which is FEPAC, accredited and has a direct internship pipeline into state and federal labs. After the degree, the next move is certification. The American Board of Criminalistics, or ABC, certifies forensic scientists across molecular biology, drug analysis, trace evidence, and more. The International Association for Identification, or IAI, issues the Certified Latent Print Examiner credential, the gold standard for fingerprint examiners. Where do these people actually work? 3 categories. State crime labs, like the California Department of Justice Bureau of Forensic Services, the Texas Department of Public Safety Crime Lab, and the Virginia Department of Forensic Science. Federal agencies, including the FBI laboratory in Quantico, the DEA forensic labs for chemistry majors, and the ATF labs for fire and explosives work. And private forensic labs like Bode Cellmark Forensics and NMS labs. Real jobs, real employers, real money. 2 professional bodies anchor this whole field: the American Academy of Forensic Sciences, the largest forensic conference in the world, and the IAI, the oldest forensic identification organization globally. These names matter. They are what a hiring manager actually looks for on a resume. Maya looked up from her notebook with the question I knew was coming. But what about AI? Will not a computer just do all of this in 10 years? This is where I had to slow down, because the answer is more interesting than yes or no. Risk tier for this job? Very low. Here is why. Yes, AI assists everywhere in the lab. Latent fingerprint comparison software speeds up examiner work. CODIS, the Combined DNA Index System, and IAFIS, the Integrated Automated Fingerprint Identification System, already automate database searches. DNA mixture interpretation has software helpers. Ballistics imaging has automated comparison through Nibbin. But all of those tools require a human expert to sign off, document, and testify. The full case-to-court workflow is the protected ground. Chain of custody requires human witness transfers. human-verified documentation, and human expert testimony in court, qualified by a judge under Dober standards. If you automated any link in that chain, the evidence becomes inadmissible. That is not a policy preference. That is embedded in the federal rules of evidence. So AI does not replace this job. AI makes this job faster. The human is the law. That is the moat almost nobody talks about, and it does not exist for most office jobs. Maya closed her notebook and said it out loud. So it is not what CSI shows you. It is a science job that happens to use science to answer legal questions. Pretty much exactly that. And here is the line I want her, and you, to remember. The careers that survive AI are the careers where a human is required by law to be in the room. That is the moat. Not college rankings, not salary, not glamour. The law. If you love science and you are curious about justice, forensic science is a real path with a real degree map, real salaries, and a real legal moat. Not the version on TV, the actual version. So drop a comment and tell me which career you want Maya and me to break down next. One more thing before you go. If you are 16, the move right now is to find a local crime lab on the state government website and email them a one-paragraph note asking whether they offer a high school tour or a summer shadow day. Many do. Most teenagers never ask. The ones who do walk into college applications with a story that no other applicant on the planet has written. That is how you turn a curious Friday night question into a real career path. Next week, Maya and I are doing the same thing for paramedics, because the salary jump from EMT to paramedic to flight medic is bigger than almost anyone thinks. See you then.